Hello everyone and welcome back in a new episode of our Minecraft series. So in the last episode it was a very extremely prodigious episode because we went end busting. Yeah, have still the things from last episode. You can see here the maps. We've explored the outer islands in which where we went for finding out some stuff, which you can see here. The loot, it's still here. I didn't have time to clear it out, and also some elytras. That is very good indeed because we now can go exploring the world much easier. It's much easier for us to go out to venture into the world and look for something interesting, which could be, for example, some corals like here, or I have still to add it here to the signboard, but we do have the cartographer, our cartographer, which sells a woodland mansion map. So we could also think about using that instead. But that is another episode's content. In today's episode instead, as I have announced in the last episode, I want to work on some storage silos. So we are going to work with chests, hoppers, and redstone. So let's jump straight ahead and begin with, well, rather than the building, shall we start with the designing? So I'll see you in my testing world for showcasing the idea I have for this silos. Here we are in our testing world, and you can see that I've designed, I've prepared two different designs for a possible silo. So first of all, we have this one. You can notice the difference that we have all the chests visible, while in this one we just have a single chest accessible. The lamps on the side indicate how full the chests are, more or less, meaning that as long as there's an item, in both cases in the chests, the light will turn on. If we were to take out the items, it would turn on. The difference comes that these four chests are independently, let's say, monitored, lit. So what basically happens here instead, if we have, you see, the topmost turned off, so basically they would gradually shut down while the chests gradually do empty. So we can just try it out by emptying out this chest and wait for this second one to shut off. While here we have all the chests can have different items inside of them, and the lamps just indicate which chests do have item into them. And we can basically, both designs are hooked up with a series of hoppers, so we can just pour the items inside and it would automatically refill. I wanted to demonstrate this concept, but I think I'm going for this design instead, especially because it allows us to just have a chest here on top, which would then just pour in the items, and we can eventually also hook it up to a sorting system, in which basically using a watch stream, we can distribute the items gradually, so we have a single chest that then pours the item into the watch string and they get sorted in the corresponding silo. And eventually we would have to have an ending one in which the miscellaneous items end up. So let's go back to our world for the actual building phase. Welcome back! So I've been working a little bit. I've dug out where I intended to place the actual stockpiles. So and I've already also drafted a little bit of a design that I have in my mind, obviously. Not really. So here we have our storage room, and I felt it was only right to put it underneath, since it's going to be a place that we will have to have close if we are going to be storing some blocks like stone down here. And for the design, I was thinking something a little bit along the lines of a cellar. So these little modules I'm going to either swap out these for wood beams or leave them like this, make a nicer archway. But what I want to focus on is here I've actually encountered some, let's say, piping issues, because on top of here we have the water pipe, which is actually the one that leads to the little pond on the outside. You can see it here. So I'll have to divert this pipe, and in over here we could actually put, instead of a module, stock module, storage module, we could put instead our classic little fountain, so that we have water nearby always available, and also hook it up with the entire pipe system, and therefore providing also a different access to this underground area. Here, if you were wondering, we are here nearby our shrine, so potentially we could even hook up the cellar to the outside, and maybe put in here something like an abbey, or let's say a cleric area, so we could start brewing beer. And that would be very nice addition. So I'll go ahead and I'll check back to you once I've went a little bit more ahead and started at least installing some of the storage modules. Welcome back. So I've already started working on the laying down where the various elements, well, the various stockpiles are going to go, the various silos, and I've already got one working. So this one is actually showing we have put in our stone in here. I'm progressively going to fill it. But I wanted to show you how to actually build it, because I didn't show it to you in the testing world. So you want to start by digging out, well, hollowing out the area in which the mechanism is going to be. It needs to be a 4 by 5 by 5. So 4 wide, 5 deep, and 5 tall hollow out space. On top of that, you need to have at least this, let's say, L shape in the front, because in here we are going to lay in the lamps and the chests, as you can see already here. So now that we have our empty space, you start first by laying down the column of lanterns, or lamps if you prefer. Now that we have laid them down, we proceed with placing down chests and hoppers. It's a very simple design, but it requires a very specific placement of chests and hoppers, because everything is going to fall in place. So you want to start first by placing down a sideways chest, which is going to be the only accessible one, and then on its left side you place in a hopper facing inwards, on top of which you are placing another double chest. Pay attention that the two chests don't have to overlap, because we are going to need the space. Then on the left side of these newly placed double chests, you can just stack another hopper facing towards the chest, and then rinse and repeat for the remaining chests and hoppers, all the same way. Now you then end up having this nice stairway of chests, which is simply making it much easier to access the various chests for reading inputs and passing out redstone. Okay, now that we have here our chests and our lamps, the next thing we have to do is cover up the lamps. Yes, no, I know, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but the issue is that if we were, for example here, to run a redstone input directly into the lamps, it would turn on all lamps, also the nearby ones, and not just a single one. By instead having a redstone torch or any sort of input running to the nearby block, we activate only the lamp we want. What we have to do then next, it's going to be, well, actually read the inputs from the chests, starting with the bottommost one. The bottommost is the easiest to read. You just run a comparator straight out from the chest into a block on which you place a redstone torch. You dig out these 2 blocks, actually, not this one. Plop down a piece of redstone and another torch. This way, by just inserting any item into this chest, this sideway lantern is going to turn on. Okay, so now next, it's going to be a little bit of a modular approach, because we have to obviously read using this comparator for this first layer, then down the block like we did previously, but this time we are going to use a repeater for extending the signal, which we are going to run into yet another block, and last but not least we are going to put it in to this block over here, like this. So you may be telling me, why do you do this? It's wrong, because the second one shouldn't be lit. The fact is that if you were to put in an item, it switches off, because it's just for this redstone torch that does his shenanigans, let's say. So that way we are able to run over to the other side without any issues. Okay, now for the next section, next level, we are just, well, all 4 levels begin pretty much the same. So 1 comparator onto this block, 1 block. The only thing is, right now here we place yet another block, much like we did before, but instead of a repeater, we place down a piece of redstone, because here we are putting in another block. And last but not least, here it's very important, we have to use 2 transparent blocks instead, because we are going to run redstone on top of it without having to power the lower blocks, because like we put in this one here and this one here. So by closing up this one, we now can power this block by, well, you can see it here, this comparator goes to this piece of redstone and powers this one. At the same time, we are not going to interfere with these, the lower levels, because we have, well, here this comparator, but also we have the transparent blocks which do not transmit the signal downwards to the block underneath. The last level is the simplest, so we have to just run straight across 3 pieces of stone, 1 here, 2 additional here for the edges, and then very much the same, 1 comparator, 1 repeater, and then here a redstone line. For avoiding these 2 pieces merging, we can just put a block of stone on top, and now everything is working. For filling up, here well, you can very simply do this trick with hoppers. You have obviously to access the items from this level over here, because we do require actually a barrel and a hopper underneath, which we can mask, like I'm going to do here, for example, using some spruce trapdoors. We can do it like this, since this is going to, well, the idea is having it as a cellar. It fits right well in using wood for decorations, like this. Like we did in the very old, I don't know if you remember the first episodes, the composter does make use of this masking with trapdoors. Well, as a finishing touch, we can put in here an inverse stair, and that's it. Everything is working, well, apart from the filling, which I'm going to do later on off camera. But if I were to put in, for example, let's say that we put in here dirt, now it's working. As intended, obviously. So, yeah. I'll have to just replicate this very same design over and over to the other 4 modules, which is going to be pretty straightforward. And I don't want to bore you with such simple menial task. So see you in a bit, as soon as I'm done building.
Welcome back. So a lot of things changed in the time that I've missed you. You can already see here from my inventory. First thing first, you may be hearing myself a little bit better because in the time that you were, as I have already announced on my channel, on my social channels, so Telegram and Discord, I believe, because those are the two main ones of mine. By the way, the links are all down below in the description. And I was saying, so you may be hearing me a little bit better. This is because my up until now, for the past more than a year, I had been using my headset for recording my voice and recording my game. Unfortunately, the microphone of my headset broke, and so I had to get a new microphone. And this time I did the things right, and thanks to a friend of mine, I got myself a proper microphone for recording. This is mainly because I tend to use a lot of the microphone for basically talking. I talk a lot on Discord and all those places. And on top of that, I use it for recording, although it has been quite a hassle to set up properly and to apply some fine-tune OBS in particular, because on Discord it seems that it is working flawlessly, but for OBS I had to apply a whole set of filters and adjust the mic gain and all the things that it wasn't godly, to say at least. So I do need your feedback on my new audio. If you hear me well, if it's too low, if it's too high, if I have to adjust something, I don't know. I'm not a sound technician yet. And let's review what else changed, because not only my microphone changed, but also here in our game, stuff changed. First of all, I went ahead and cleaned up my Enderchest and packed everything in shulkers. Well, in one shulker, which is this supplied shulker. Additionally, I've also got my hands, I've prepared more than got my hands on another shulker for basically when we will be going on an exploration session. We have a shulker in which to pour in all of our belongings, or all of our items that may find, especially in particular precious items, which we want to store safely in our Enderchest rather than carrying them in our inventory. Last but not least, I've completed the cellar, the school cellar. You can see here that I've made this, I've fine-tuned, I've decorated at least a little bit in a basic way, yeah, but better than nothing. Crude walls, but I used the classical castle palette for what concerns the flooring. And here I went ahead and did what I had announced previously of using the wood for giving sort of a wooden look, using spruce as wooden beams, and using this spruce ceiling. And you can see that I've also filled in the other remaining mechanisms everything is nicely accessible using, well, this door. It's an entire corridor that flows through all of these mechanisms. I've just replicated what I've shown you in the previous segment all around this room. And I also went ahead and integrated the pipings like I did for the iron farm. So we have now a little access here and we can go up. Over here is the iron farm. And this way is the pond. So everything is nicely connected. Although I have to plot down a conduit here nearby our home someday. You can see also, well, you can notice that I have been swapping out the walls for different blocks. So basically I've chosen to use the blocks contained in the chest, in the silo, as a wall, so that we do not need any sign or whatever to understand what's stored inside. For example, here we have a stone wall, because we have stone stored in our silo. Here we have dirt. Then these two are empty. You can see that, as I've said previously, they are bugged with this second lantern being turned on, but I don't mind it. Here we have netherrack, and last but not least, basalt. So we can keep on stocking on basalt rather than having to throw away. And that's it. So let's go back up to the signboard for concluding today's episode. Here we are in front of our signboard, and I've already went ahead and removed the old storage silo signs. Actually, this is the second take I've tried to record this conclusion, because the first one, the microphone was way too low for volume. So I had to throw everything away and try and record anew. Hopefully, this is a good take, not a bad one. So, for what concerns the next episode, I'm planning on going on a little bit of an exploration session, because we are still in 1.20.6, not yet in 1.21. Because, well, first of all, I'm waiting for Optifine to come out for 1.21. But also, I wanted, before leaving this version, go on an exploration session and find what has been introduced with this very specific version, which is the various different dog types. So the now wolves spawn with different colors depending on where they do spawn, I believe. Yeah. So I wanted to get myself a dog, basically. A nice dog to cheer ourselves up in our lonely world. Okay, so my blabbering aside, the sun is setting, and so are we concluding today's episode. I thank you for following until this moment. Leave a like if you enjoyed today's episode, and subscribe if you wish to see more like them. Do not forget to let me know what you think of my new audio, of my new voice. If it is better, worse, what I have to adjust. I'm not a sound technician, but I'll try my best. And I will be waiting for you in the next episode. Bye-bye!